A woman vanishes from a locked hotel room on the 4th floor. No windows open. No signs of forced entry. 3 days later, her wedding ring is found, sewn inside the lining of a stranger's coat 200 miles away. This is the case investigators still can't explain. In the autumn of 1987, in a quiet coastal town in northern England, 34-year-old schoolteacher Margaret Hale checked into the Ashworth Hotel for a weekend alone. She told her sister she needed time to think. She was seen at dinner that evening, reading alone at a corner table. The waiter remembered her ordering tea and leaving a generous tip. That was the last confirmed sighting of Margaret Hale. The next morning, hotel staff found her room locked from the inside. Her coat was on the hook, her suitcase unopened, her purse, with her identification and cash, sat untouched on the nightstand. But Margaret herself was gone. Police were called immediately. The room was on the 4th floor, accessible only by a single corridor with a front desk in clear view of the stairwell and the lift. The window led only to a sheer drop with no ledge, no drain pipe, nothing a person could climb. Forensic teams dusted for prints and found nothing unusual. No signs of struggle, no blood, no disturbance. It was as though Margaret had simply stepped out of her own life. For 3 days, search parties combed the coastline. Divers checked the harbor. Her photograph ran in every regional paper. And then, on the 4th day, something happened that would haunt the case for decades. A second-hand clothing dealer in Manchester, 200 miles away, was sorting through a donated coat when he felt something hard stitched into the lining. He cut it open. Inside was a gold wedding ring, engraved with the initials M.H. and R.H. Margaret Hale and her husband, Robert Hale. The coat had been donated anonymously to a charity shop 3 days earlier, the same day Margaret disappeared. No security footage existed of the donation. No one at the shop remembered who dropped it off. The ring had definitely been sewn in deliberately, with careful, even stitching not hastily hidden. Investigators were stunned. How did an object from a locked hotel room end up sewn inside a coat 200 miles away within 72 hours? There was no evidence Margaret ever left the hotel that night, let alone traveled that distance. Robert Hale, her husband, was questioned extensively. He had an alibi. He was home with their 2 children, confirmed by neighbors who saw him that entire evening. He had no known connection to Manchester, no relatives there, no explanation for how his wife's ring could have traveled so far, so fast, hidden so precisely. Theories multiplied. Some believed Margaret staged her own disappearance, perhaps to escape a life she felt trapped in, and arranged for the ring to be delivered by an accomplice, possibly someone she'd been secretly involved with. Letters found later in her school desk suggested she'd been unhappy in her marriage, though nothing confirmed an affair. Others believed foul play, that someone had abducted her from the room using a method investigators never identified, and the ring was left behind as a taunt, a message that whoever took her wanted to be known without being caught. A third theory, favored by a retired detective who worked the case for over a decade, was that Margaret had help from someone inside the hotel itself. A staff member with access to a service door investigators later discovered near the fire stairwell, a door that had been painted over and forgotten, but technically still functional. If someone knew the building well enough, it was possible, just possible, to leave unseen. But even that theory doesn't explain the ring. No trains, buses, or private hires from that town to Manchester were ever traced to anyone matching Margaret's description in that window of time. The math simply doesn't work with any known form of transportation available in 1987. Margaret Hale was never found. Robert Hale passed away in 2009, maintaining until his final years that he had no idea what happened to his wife. Their children, now in their 50s, still believe their mother is alive somewhere, living under a different name. The Ashworth Hotel closed in 1998, and room 412 no longer exists. The fourth floor was renovated into an open lounge. To this day, the case remains open with the Regional Police Archive, one of the coldest unsolved disappearances in the area's history. No new evidence has surfaced since 1987. The ring itself was logged, photographed, and eventually returned to the Hale family, who kept it in a drawer for years before donating it to a local historical society, where it remains on display, a single quiet reminder of a mystery that was never solved. If you were investigating this case today, which theory would you believe? Staged disappearance, abduction, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments.